Chapter 2. So I saw that there is nothing better for man than to enjoy his work, because that is his lot. Ecclesiastes 3:22. After anticipating an exciting day, I'm let down when nothing significant happens. For several hours, I've been dangling beneath the stern of the Alcyon in a clear plastic cage, hoping to attract the attention of a great white shark. Jean-Michel Cousteau wants to see how a great white will react to an apparently cageless diver. Occasionally, I see one begin to approach, but then the shark breaks away and disappears back into the gloom of deeper water. Glancing over at the steel cinematographer's cage floating 20 feet away, I see Jean-Michel Cousteau disappointedly signaling an end to the day's diving. The crew on deck raises the plastic cylinder to the surface so I can scramble out. I'm so cold that my fingers are stiff and my movements awkward. Helping hands eagerly pull me out of the water. One of the best aspects of our team effort is the camaraderie. When people labor together, equally sharing in the effort, the work is always easier and the tasks are finished much faster. Stripping off my dive gear, I head below for a brief hot shower. Fresh water is always limited on a ship at sea, so I take a sailor's shower. I turn the water on for no more than 20 seconds to soap down and wash off. Donning sweats, I'm still freezing as I begin my afternoon chores. After 8 days, it is my turn for below deck duties. I vacuum the carpet, dust the dining salon, clean the bathrooms, sweep and mop the kitchen floor, and gather up the trash for later disposal ashore. I take my time doing a thorough job of each chore. It is part of an unstated competition. Each crew member knows that if anyone does sloppy work, it will unfairly add to the next person's chores. So all of us try to do a better job than the last person. Returning to the kitchen, I now have to help Bruno, the chef. I have to set the dinner table and do general kitchen cleanup. Tonight, Bruno is serving beef Wellington, one of his specialty dishes. The fillets, which spent most of the day marinating in his secret sauce, are now lightly sauteing in garlic, herbs, and butter. While still hot, Bruno wraps the steaks in dough jackets and puts them in the oven to brown. Meanwhile, he makes another elaborate sauce to accompany the beef Wellington, then adds crumbled bacon to a tray of scalloped potatoes. Viola, he announces proudly, the dinner is ready. Yuck, I respond. Yuck? What do you mean, yuck? Bruno is outraged. You crazy American vegetarian. How can you not appreciate my French cuisine? I'm referring to all the pots and pans I have to scrub, I replied tactfully, pointing at the mess in the kitchen. It gets worse, Bruno states rather happily, considering he is offering bad news. We're low on fresh water, so the engineer doesn't want anyone using the automatic dishwasher. Later that night, I am again elbow deep in soapy water, washing the dinner dishes when the captain walks up behind me. You have the mid watch, he says brightly. That means I have to be up from midnight till 3 a.m. Untying my apron, I rush off to my cabin and a few, hopefully, hours of sleep. Instead, I toss and turn. It seems as if only a moment has passed before a blinding white light is shining in my eyes. Time to get up, urges our English sounding sound man. Okay, I answer, but stop shining that light in my eyes. He shrugs, then steps out of the cabin. It does not dawn on him he has just destroyed my night vision. Not a good situation for someone who is about to go on a night watch. The sound man is our audio technician. Having grown up in London's crowded suburbs, he is a city person, unaccustomed to being on a ship at sea. The captain only allows him to stand a watch because we are safely at anchor. Quickly dressing in the dark, I exit the cabin and head for the bridge. The sound man is sitting in front of the radar unit. Its soft greenish light washes over his face as he adjusts the range setting. I notice that there is a slight look of confusion in his eyes. Everything okay? I ask. Ugh, yeah, he responds timidly. I glance at the radar screen. Something looks a little odd about it. Still rubbing the sleep from my eyes, I step out to inspect the lay of the windship. We are anchored a mere tenth of a mile from Dangerous Reef, so I want to check the wind direction and sea state. It is a moonless night, and I'm having difficulty seeing anything in the dark. It is then that I notice the deck moving in an oddly rhythmic way. The Alcyon is lightly swaying side to side, but it doesn't feel like swell-induced motion. The windship's deck softly rises as a rushing line of white water passes silently beneath the stern. Quickly looking in the direction of the reef, I see odd-looking fluorescent splashes of dim light. Then I hear the sound of the surf pounding sharp-edged rocks. In alarm, I rush back inside the bridge. How far are we from the reef? I shout. The sound man immediately panics. I'm not sure. This radar isn't reading right. For emergencies, there is a large red button on the bridge. I shove down on it hard. Instantly, the quiet of the night is shattered by the wail of the ship's emergency siren. Moments later, crewmen spill from their cabins in alarm. Start up the engines, I yell. We're almost on the reef. Christoph, the captain, quickly assumes command. The screws begin turning in less than a minute. The Alcyon slowly and cautiously maneuvers away from the sharp rocks of Dangerous Reef. It takes an hour to carefully re-anchor the ship. Christoph is too shook up to sleep, so he offers to take the rest of my watch. As I'm leaving the bridge, he quietly confides, "Can you imagine how scary it would be for the Alcyon to sink in shark-infested water? At night, no less." I nod, lacking anything important to say. If the Englishman wasn't sure how to stand his watch, he should have said something. The captain is mostly talking to himself, yet I answer him anyway. It was a mistake, I shrug. He isn't a sailor. No, it's more than that. Christoph fines tuned the radar. The rotating light bar paints a reflection of the reef shoreline in soft neon green. A thunderhead falling off several miles to port is shown as an angry smear of bright red light in the upper corner of the scope. When you tell people that you can do something, Christoph continues, they rely on you to do it. It's not just that he broke his promise to me, he also endangered everyone aboard ship. The captain looks up from the scope. For a moment, our eyes meet. It means I can never trust him again, Christoph says wearily. In the darkness of my cabin, I lie awake thinking about the soundman. I doubt that he is sleeping either. Maybe his thoughts are clouded with images of dark water and the flashing teeth of great white sharks. Possibly he is thinking about friends struggling to survive in that dark water. Certainly his actions tonight were an accident. He did something he didn't mean to do. Yet the bottom line is that he failed us and himself in a very big way. Sure, there are many excuses he could offer. but ultimately the responsibility is completely his own. In the dark cubicle of my cabin, I think about one of my own big mistakes. It landed me in the darkness of a prison cell. Some of the other inmates argued that it wasn't really my fault. Someone that I trusted manipulated me into doing something I didn't want to do. But the bottom line is that I did do it. And even worse, it wasn't so much that a person manipulated me, it was that they knew they could before they even tried. It meant that this person was aware of my flaws, something I hadn't been willing to face about myself. Seeing my own faults and realizing how far I had fallen took me down to my knees. In the dim twilight of that prison cell, I realized that none of us is perfect. We are all prone to error. What is important is that we learn to take full responsibility for our actions and determine to make a better choice next time. We can't erase our past blunders, but God can free us of the burdens of them. That is the wonder of amazing grace. We certainly don't deserve it. Grace isn't something we can earn. It is a gift freely given. In the darkness of my cabin, the lingering shadows of my prison experience grow fainter and more distant only because the Lord forgives. I say a quiet prayer of thanks and drift slowly off to sleep. Grace and peace to you from God our Father in the Lord Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 1:3.